Sponsored me since I was 19 years old. Art Martor took care of me at a young age and gave me a lot, and hopefully I'm giving something back to him.
Of course, the Sullivan Award is given each year by the Amateur Athletic Union to the outstanding amateur athlete in the United States. 10 athletes were finalists for the prestigious award. They included Jill Trenery, who talked to us earlier, who won both the U.S. and world titles last year, and Notre Dame's outstanding all-purpose player, Rocket Ismail, who could be the top pick in April's NFL draft. But both of them were beaten out by a man with the unassuming name of John Smith, who just well may be the best American wrestler of all time. He is small in stature compared to our gridiron giants and hardcourt heroes, but in his sport, John Smith is heads above the rest.
I think he's already proven that by the records internationally, that he is the greatest wrestler that America's ever had.
Wow, what a win! That's going to do it. That's going to do it. Sarkisian doesn't even try and attack, and Smith has won the Olympic Games.
2 NCAA titles, 4 world championships, and Olympic gold medal. At 25, John Smith has carved out a special place in the annals of his sport. And when he stood up this past Monday night in Indianapolis to accept the Sullivan Award as this nation's top amateur athlete, he became the first and only wrestler in the 61-year history of the award to be so honored.
If I get in a tight match where it's close against a Soviet or a Bulgarian, I find a way to win. It seems like whatever I have to do, I do it right. You know, to explain that, I just can't do, you know. I know that I've been behind by a point or two with 30 or 40 seconds left, and I find a way to take the guy down to win.
He has a unique ability to get down low and cover a short distance between he and his opponent very quick and get on his opponent's legs. And everybody in the world, the Russians have scouted him, everybody in the world knows what he has. They know what he does. They know his setups, the tactics he uses, his strategies, and to get to this single leg, and yet no one can stop it.
What John has basically done is develop an unorthodox style unique to his skills, emphasizing speed and flexibility. And it has brought him unparalleled success.
I see a bundle of intensity with positioning and skills that his opponent can't match.
When I watch films of my own technique, sometimes I'm amazed at the way I can bend and turn. You know, I can get myself in a bad position and still come out of it.
Hello, my name is John Smith. How low can you go? The low single leg. That's what I'll be covering in this video. The last couple of years, I've had people ask me why I haven't done a video, and basically it's because I don't quite understand how I did the low single leg in my earlier years as I was competing through college and even through some of the international competition. I wasn't sure exactly what I was doing, and I've evaluated over the last year, and I broke it down into segments of how I do the low single leg, and the thing I come up with is simple, and as you watch the video it'll become simple to you. And remember, don't make it a complicated move, because it's not a complicated move. What's important though is that you concentrate on your finishes, and I'll stress that throughout the video, how important finishes are. Everybody can get to the single leg, but remember, the great wrestlers finish it.
Okay, let's get started. The low-level single. First thing we've got to talk about is the low level. Okay, when we talk about a low-level single, we're talking about being close to the ground, being able to penetrate as low as you can to the ground, but also staying in a good position. The problems that I see across the nation with kids and college wrestlers and even high school wrestlers hitting the low-level single is that they take their body out of position when they make the shot. And if you take your body out of position while you're that low to the ground, you're going to have problems. That's why so many times we end up with our face on the ground, our arms extended out, or a guy end up butt dragging us coming around or posting our head and going around. So it's important that once we make that initial shot, it's important that we stay in good position just in case we miss the leg or we don't get to the leg, okay? Once we get into this, you'll see that if I miss the leg, I'm still in a good position where I can come out safely or even score, okay? So it's important that you watch my position and watch where I'm at all times, okay? Now, once we hit the low-level single, once our penetration in, okay, it's important that you watch what my hands are doing and watch what my feet are doing. Now, first thing we got is we got a post hand, okay, and we've got an attack hand. Excuse me, attack hand, post hand. Got a little confused there, okay? So when we penetrate, we got a post hand, we've got an attack hand, okay? Now, remember, when we talk about a low single leg, we're talking about penetrating from the knee on down. Okay, we do not want to attack from the knee on up, all right? Or we're dealing with too much power up here, okay? So we're attacking from the knee on down. So when I penetrate, I want to make sure that my shoulder is below that knee. I want to make sure that my body position's in a position where I feel comfortable, but at the same time, I'm still powerful. We don't want to get extended out when we shoot this low single. Okay, again, we've got an attack hand, we've got a post hand. When I penetrate, I've got to make sure that I drop down to the level that I want to shoot. One thing that I see is a lot of athletes shoot down at the ankle and they drive their body into the mat. We don't want to be doing that, okay? We want to be able to change levels here. So if I wrestle out of this level right here, if I'm going to shoot the low-level single, I've got to drop down. It's what we go from a square stance to a stagger stance and be able to drop my level down to where I want to penetrate straight into that leg. So when I'm ready to penetrate, I want to drop in this position. Now we've got an attack hand, we've got a post hand. When I penetrate, I'm going to drive my knee directly over, okay, to the mat. At the same time, my head and chest is following my knee into my opponent right here, okay, in this position. Again, we have the post hand that posts in between the legs. We have the attack hand in this position. The head goes to the inside of the knee right here. Right in this position right here. Now, if you notice, watch what my arm does. I am not attacking around the leg. That's where we make the mistakes. I want to take this forearm and run it as close to the mat as I can. At the same time, I'm attacking around the heel. I'm not grabbing the leg. Too many of us want to do this, and we end up getting our shoulder above the knee. Well, that's defeating the purpose here. We want to make sure that the shoulder is down below the knee in this position here. Okay? We do not want to attack with two hands and try to attack the leg and lock around the leg in this position because we have a tendency of putting our elbows on the mat and now we can't move. Okay? So we want this post hand here. All right? The head's going to run right alongside this knee here in this position. So when we take the shot, remember, it's important that you understand here, this is where we make the mistake, is that our initial shot into the leg, we have a tendency of doing this, dropping the knee down and extending our body forward. Okay? We don't want to get to this position here. I may get to the leg, but any movement back by him, we end up in this position. Okay? How many of us been there with their head in the mat and arms extended here? We don't know what to do. Coach, what do I do? Okay? What you do is you're going to get scored on. Okay? So don't do it. So, remember, we're going to drive our knee directly over our body here. As I step, I'm changing my levels. Okay, I'm driving my knee over my foot. My head and chest follows right into the leg here in this position. Okay? Now, my head's inside of this knee, my forearm's attacking around. Don't hook. Okay? Because the purpose of the low single leg is what? Number one, we're eliminating this man from sprawling. That's what I want to do with the low single leg. I want to eliminate the man from sprawling. The only way he can sprawl is if he can do what? Bend this knee. Okay? If my shoulder's below the knee in this position, he cannot bend his knee. There's nowhere for him to go sprawl back. But if I'm attacking here and he can bend that knee, he's going to drop his hips, and we end up here. That's the mistake that I would say 90% of the wrestlers out there make, is they attack by hooking their shoulders above the knee, the guy sprawls, and they go, the low single leg doesn't work. Well, you're doing it wrong, okay? So remember, this isn't for everybody. We must understand that. Not everybody's going to be able to hit a low single leg, okay? Mainly because it's too low to the ground. Guys aren't flexible enough, and there's athletes that just can't get that low and feel comfortable. But I would say probably 75% of the athletes out there can hit a low single leg if they just learn the technique right. Okay, so back to our initial shot. So when I attack here, remember, I'm stepping forward, changing my levels. If I wrestle out of this level, I don't want to shoot down, I want to change levels. Now when I penetrate, I'm penetrating. All I'm looking at is that knee. As I penetrate, this is the key, the post hand. That's what helps us keep our body up, and that's what helps us stay in a good position. So when I penetrate, post here, in this position. Head up, knee directly underneath my chest, in this position. Okay, right here. Making sure that post, don't lock hands here, post. Now I'm in a good position. If I miss this leg, I'm still in a good position where I can come out or where I can score, right here. Okay? Now, we'll cover the setups once we learn the technique to get to this leg, okay? Probably after the finishes and everything, we'll cover the setups in different ways we can get to the leg, make this guy react to where the leg becomes easier to shoot at, okay? So, our first finish to the single leg, once we penetrate, okay? Once I penetrate in and I post my hand, and I'm attacking with my attack hand here, okay? In this position. The best finish that there is to this single leg is setting this man right down on the hip. Number one, he cannot sprawl, okay? But he will react from this position. He'll drop that leg back, okay? Right here in this position, okay? And all of his weight to come onto you. But you notice the knee. This knee didn't bend, okay? From right here, all I'm going to do is I'm going to cave him to the mat. At the same time, I'm going to come up high with the hand and score my points, okay? Let's turn this way. So again, my initial shot as I penetrate here, right here. Now he sprawls back in this position. See how the knee bends? Stop right there. Stay in that position. Notice where the knee is. See the angle of his knee. That's what you want. You want him to be able to drop that leg back, okay? But if he can't bend this knee, this foot's not going anywhere. And that's what the key is to this, is to make sure that our shoulder's below this knee, and this is the situation you'll get in. Now his body's cramped up in here, and we're in a good position right here. So as that drops back, all I'm going to do is cave it in, step, come up high. I would say 50% of the time I finish with that particular finish, okay? So again, as I penetrate, I hit, he sprawls right here, okay? See where the knee's bent. Step up, plant. Now this hand, what this hand's doing is I'm bumping him off. Right here. Coming up, scoring my 2 points, or 1 point in freestyle. So, as you can see, the key is that I stay below this knee here. If I can't stay below this knee, we do not want to be shooting a low single leg. Because I don't want to be in this position here on a knee and trying to battle him here. He's going to beat me if he's got good sprawl and he's got good hips. He's going to beat me every time. So, if I'm going to shoot a low single leg, I'm either going to shoot it right or I shouldn't shoot it at all, because you're not putting yourself in a good position if you're attacking above this knee. So we got to make sure that we trap this leg. Okay? I'm going to hit it one time for you with some speed and some quickness in this position. Right here. Once we score, we keep the leg. We're looking for back points. Okay, as we said, that we'll cover a lot of finishes, and that will be the main focus on the videos once we shoot to the leg, concentrating on the finishes and the different types of finishes. He may react in certain ways, and we've got to react to those reactions. So let's go back to some more finishes. Off the initial shot, what happens a lot of times is when we take this shot, our head comes through. Okay? Sometimes our head's all the way through the man. All right? So as I take this shot here, and he sprawls back in this position, my head's through. Okay? And what happens is body falls in this direction here. Okay? Let's turn around. Okay, again. I shoot here, and his body falls over. My head ends up through the joint here. Okay, and I'm looking up. From this position, this is what's important with our post hand. From right here, all I'm going to do is post on the mat with my post hand, and I'm going to come straight up. As I come up, I'm going to control the heel. Okay, right here, in this position. Okay, I'm going to be looking up. That's why it's so important that when we take this shot, this low-level single shot, that our knee is underneath us. Because I can't come up unless my knee's underneath me. If I take my shot and I'm extended out in this position here, okay, there's no way that I can come up. If I have him put both knees down, put your head right here. Lift your head up. Put your hands behind your back. Lift your head up. It's impossible. Okay? Now, he takes one knee and shoves it underneath his chest here, puts his head down. Now come up. He's got his power. All right? That's what's important. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is that when we take this shot, that our knee has to be underneath us here. Now, when he sprawls and my head comes through, I'm able to come up because my knee is underneath me. Okay? All I'm going to do is post, come straight up, right here. Now, as I come up, I'm going to step up with my outside foot, right here. Okay? Now, from this position here, I'm going to come up, and this free hand's going to come around, and I'm going to finish my takedown. Okay? Again. We're facing that way. In this position here, I'm going to come up. From here, my outside foot steps up. From here, I'm going to reach across and score my points. Now with some speed here, boom, coming straight up. Stepping, outside foot, turning into my opponent. When we get in this low level and we take the shot, we want to finish as quick as we can. Either dropping him to his hip, either coming out the top. If he turns his knee the opposite way, which we'll cover, we want to finish the move and the finish to the single as quick as possible. We don't want to sit with the low single leg. I've experienced good things with it. I've experienced bad things. And the bad things come when we shoot to the leg and we sit with it. Do not sit with the low single leg, because that's when a guy can tie us up. We end up in stalemates. Once we shoot to that leg and we penetrate him, we want to finish as quick as possible. So once again, as the shot's in here and he sprawls, I'm coming straight up here. Outside leg steps up, turning into him, scoring my points. Okay, and now I know what some of you were saying out there. What if he grabs your ankle? What if he grabs around your waist? What if he tries to put a figure 4 around your head? We're going to be able to react. I'm going to show you some things that you're going to do. Whatever he does, you're going to be able to react to. Okay? One thing about this low single leg, I said the difficult part of it is the finishes. Okay, so that's why we're going to focus so much on finishes, is because it's tough. It's a tough situation when you get down there, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Okay, so if he grabs our ankle, here's what we do. I take this shot, my head shoots through my opponent, and I end up with my head a little too far through. Okay, again, we're going to post the hand and we're going to come up. But now he's going to grab my ankle. Let's turn this way, right here. As I penetrate, I'm in this position. As I come up here, he grabs my ankle. All I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my ankle in and set right down on the hand. Now, I've trapped that hand to the mat. All right, he's not going to be able to pull that hand out. From this position, I'm just going to drive back into